Hi everyone, this is Arcadius and welcome back to Naval Creed. Today we'll be going over the HE secondaries for the French tech tree battleship Alsace, and she's actually a pretty decent secondary build. She does lose some efficiency with the 6-inch guns since they now fire high explosive instead of armor piercing, but believe it or not, it's not that much of a difference. Now she's not going to be near anywhere as good as something like H-39, but it's still pretty decent in itself. So our secondary range goes from 5.5 kilometers with Gascogna all the way up to 7.2 kilometers. Now I have the captain skill and the module applied as well, so my secondary shells go out to almost 11 kilometers, I think. And so they are actually coming in at an angle that's good enough that it's not just flat, it's actually coming in and impacting the superstructure. So you have a better chance of actually doing damage, and you have a better chance of setting fires, versus something like Lensau or Gascogna, where it's just impacting the side armor, the belt armor, and just shattering. So a lot better, ship for a secondary build, at least in the French tech tree. I like to focus her with rate of fire and reload and rotation. But I do have this specific Alsace focused for secondary build. The other one, which is the pink camo of this ship, is focused for anti-aircraft defense. So let's toss her into a game and see what we can do with these HE 6-inch secondaries. Alright, so here we have ourselves a game. Let's see what kind of game we have today. Quite a few battleships and quite a few cruisers. No carrier, no destroyer. And you know what? That's fine with me. Our secondaries are actually able to do decent amounts of damage to at least light and to an extent heavy cruisers. Super cruisers like Alaska, probably not that much. Against battleships, battleships with a lot of superstructure like Iowa and Lion, yes, we'll be able to do some damage. But against ships like Rostoslav, that have like no superstructure at all, probably not going to be able to do much. I don't know if I want armor piercing or high explosives to start with. We're actually let's use armor piercing. Maybe we can slap a cruiser right at the beginning of the game here. Alsace is one of my favorite battleships in the entire game. I really love high tier French battleships, that being 8.0 and higher. They're just extremely good, and they fit my playstyle very well. Good rate of fire. You don't have the biggest guns. Even Alsace only has 15-inch guns, though she does have 12 of them, but they reload really quickly, and you just smother a target in shells, whether it's HE or AP, and you can just do an insane amount of damage the entire time. Add to that good speed and good armor if you know how to angle it correctly, and these ships are just, they're so much fun. I love them. Alright, let's see if we can get one of these cruisers out of the game really quickly. Such as this Worcester. Might be a little too much lead. Yeah, a little too much lead. I actually haven't played all of this in a while. Or Jean d'Arc. But I'll be able to get used to it pretty quickly. Alright, so our secondaries are opening up. We're getting fires. And let's see what else our shells can do here. Are you turning? See, there's still a lot of shatters, however, but we were at least able to do some damage right there. You know what, let's go in. We're gonna go brawl. I'm gonna focus our secondaries on... Oops, we sank a cruiser, not quite sure how, but I will take it. Alright, so we're gonna focus our secondaries on that Worcester. And there she goes. Next. That Worcester. This Alaska is going to be annoying because it actually has enough armor to ricochet my shells from this angle, so we have to wait a little bit. Oh, she's actually going to keep angling. So let's see what we can do against this Rostoslav. Yeah, 2 citadels. bring up the rear turret here. There goes the next booster. Ooh, the Alaska's down as well. That's nice. Another Citadel, and we're just going to let the secondaries shoot wherever they want. What's the last cruiser? Alaska. Yeah, so it doesn't really matter anymore. We are being shot at by the enemy Alsace, so we will have to try and angle towards her a little bit. And let's see if we can finish off this Rostislav with the back turret. Our secondaries are opening up on that Iowa, it looks like. We got a fire. I'll leave her for the secondaries. Maybe we can get some damage into this Alaska here. Yep, some good damage. Rear turret. There she goes. We're actually going to focus our secondaries on that Iowa. Yes, the island's in the way right now, but when we can see the Iowa again, that's the first thing my secondaries are going to be shooting. We actually have a nice broadside on this lion right now as well. Oh, nope, the Iowa already went down. So get some shots into the lion, and now we have the broadside of the Alsace that we can shoot. I am going to take some damage here. That's unavoidable. But in return, I should be able to slap this Alsace pretty decently as well. And in fact, I will kill her. Alright, so now we're going to go back down towards the south. I have no interest in capping the base. I like damage. So our secondaries are still opening up and doing, well, they're at least hitting the target. The smaller ones along the side are probably not going to do much, if anything at all, as you can see here. But the 6-inch secondaries, once they hit the superstructure, they'll be able to do some damage. And there goes the Lion. Next we have the Iowa. We've already seen 7 ships. Like, you can see why I really like this playstyle. Just secondaries, setting fires every once in a while, your main guns reloading, and sending just a ton of shells everywhere. Your AA is also pretty decent as well. And then just really good speed. And there's another Citadel. We're actually going to angle in a little bit more on the left side here. That does mean our back turret turned all the way around for nothing, but it's fine. Because we'll be able to finish off these ships pretty quickly. We're going to activate our speed boost to try and outrun the turret rotation on Iowa. Oh, no Citadel. That's upsetting. But it looks like she's gone. And then we have the free entire broadside of Alsace here. Bounce her shells. See, 15-inch guns can no longer overmatch at this tier, which also applies to me. So she can't overmatch me, but through the stern, I can still get plenty of damage. Secondaries are still hitting the target, but just because they hit the target doesn't mean that they're going to do damage. Sometimes I see people post games on the Facebook page where they'll have something like an Iowa or something that'll have a ton of secondary hits. But secondary hits don't really matter if they don't do damage. That just means they're hitting the target, but they're just shattering. So if you're going to run a secondary build, you want to make sure you're actually able to do damage with said secondaries. So let's see how we ended up doing, because that was actually pretty decent. 365,000 damage, about half my record actually. 6 ships sunk, though it did say 7 at one point. 110 shell hits, 7 aircraft shot down, 12 citadels, 2 fires only. That's from 210 secondary hits, because I never actually once fired high explosive, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I always used armor piercing. So you don't get a lot of fires with your secondaries, I would say. Well, at least not on the targets that I was shooting. But you do get quite a few hits, and then that was 11,000 base XP and 19,000 free XP. Now out of 210 Secondary hits, we did just over 5,000 damage. So pretty much nothing. But it was just enough damage to be able to take down some of those cruisers. You remember in the beginning, the Worcester, the other Worcester, even the Fargo. I mean, it looks like we shot the Fargo maybe once or twice and we were able to sink her. So they're good for mopping up cruisers and the destroyer that dangerously gets too close. Against battleships, though, pretty much worthless. But again, with high explosive shells, you're not going to go through, well, in this case, a 13-inch belt armor. And that's just on Alsace. But that doesn't mean she's bad. She's still pretty fun as a secondary brawler. Again, that's probably not the best way you could go. I did have her for reload and rotation before, but secondary, I just enjoy hitting the target more often than not. And the occasional fire does and actually end up helping you. So with that, I will wrap up today's video. If you liked the video, make sure you like and subscribe for further content. And join me tomorrow while we go over the other version of Alsace that's in the game. That's Jeanne d'Arc. In this case, it's Bourgogne. And we'll be going over her with the HE secondary. So again, thank you and take care.